Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another day with APS, with At Home with APS. I've got to get used to saying that out loud. I'm Jamie Jacobson, and if you joined us yesterday, you know what fun we had doing all kinds of different activities with students, learning more about their reading, creating good craft projects at home that can help boost their storytelling ability, as well as having some wonderful read-alouds that were brought to you by members of our staff. Today, we've got another team of educators that are here to wow you and to give some really great activities that will keep your children learning at home and keep them engaged. Now, I have a message for the grown-ups in the family who are helping to take care of these students. I know that this is a trying time, can be a little frustrating, and so there are some things that you might want to think about as you are putting together activities for children that will help build their critical thinking and problem-solving abilities, which are really important for learning math, for making sure that they know how to solve problems and strategize. And some of those easy ways that you can do that are with simple board games, things that you may have at home already: checkers, chess, Monopoly, Battleship. Any of those kinds of games are really good things that students can do and play to learn how to strategize and solve problems. And those are all part of what we call the standards of mathematical practice. And they really help kids to understand concepts of number, pattern, and problem development and solution. We also know that from students, particularly when they tell us, when we ask questions of them, they'll tell us things if in the way that we ask them. For example, if I say, "Did you have a good day at school today?" "Yes." "What did you learn?" "I don't know." "Did you do math?" "Yes." "Did you do reading?" "No." Those are called closed-ended questions. They don't really give very much information about what's going on. So when you're asking questions of your children during this closure time, consider questions that begin with the words why, how, what, where, when. That way, when you ask those questions, the student has to formulate an answer. Those are called open-ended questions. And those questions are going to give you more information about, number one, what they're thinking, number two, what they are learning, and number three, what might need to be relearned or retaught. So keep that in mind as you're asking questions. The other thing that you want to keep in mind is called wait time. Wait time is the amount of time from the time you ask a question or give a problem for them to solve and the time that the student comes up with an answer. Kids need time to process information, and everybody's brain moves at a different rate. So a student who's given a problem of 3 plus 5 equals, they may not be able to come up with that answer just off the top of their head unless they've memorized those facts. And memory doesn't necessarily mean that they understand it. So when you ask that question, if you prompt them too much, you may even be giving them the answer without meaning to. 3 plus 5 equals, you know this answer, you know it, it's 8, right? 8, say 8. The child says 8, yay, you got the answer right. But they didn't necessarily learn what 3 plus 5 really is. So instead of prompting them that way, give them time to solve the problem, and if they can't, then it's time to take things like a handful of crayons and do something like this where you're saying, okay, I've got 3 crayons, and I'm going to add 5 more. Let's count those out together. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to count on 5, 6, 7, 8. So 3 and 5 together is what? And then give them time to answer that question. That's called wait time. But it also helps them put a sight to the number in sense of objects that you've used, but it also gives them time to think about those numbers and how they relate together. Counting on can be kind of a difficult concept for kids. So that's one way to solve that problem. So today we're going to have a lot of really good information that is given to kids and lots of fun activities that they can do I hope that you'll stay with us between 8 a.m. this morning as well as all the way up to noon, and we will be working with students of all ages during our show. So thanks for joining us, and welcome to this episode of At Home with APS.
Good morning, students, and welcome to At Home with APS. My name is Miss Kathy, and I'm here to teach you today in math. Every Tuesday and Thursday, you can come here at this time to learn more about math and science. Today, you're going to meet two other fantastic teachers, Mrs. B and Miss Q. We're going to be working with you today on numbers, on playing a math game, and reading a book, which might seem odd for math, but soon you'll see why it's so important to read for math as well. So to prepare for today's lesson, you're going to need four things. You're going to need paper, pencil, scissors, and if you can find one, a spoon. Now that may seem silly, but when you get to the story today, you'll find that a spoon is actually going to be helpful and fun. Now, sometimes we run out of paper at our house, and so you might have to get creative when you're doing lessons with us. You can reuse another piece of paper, or you could try finding a cardboard box like a cereal box, and if you open it up, you'll find that the inside can easily work as a piece of paper as well. Now, if you're in Albuquerque, you also have the opportunity to go to our grab-and-go lunch sites all across the city where they're handing out school supplies that you can use for these lessons. You can have a grown-up go to the APS website to find where these sites are so that you can get your lunch and supplies. Now that you're ready with all of your supplies, I'm going to hand things over to Mrs. B so that you can do number of the day.
Hi, I'm Mrs. B, and today we're going to talk about the number of the day. Our number today is the number 9. Say it with me, 9. Let's count up to the number 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let me write our number 9 on the board. Here's a little poem to help us remember. First we draw a loop and then a line, and that's how we draw the number 9. First we draw a loop and then a line, and that's how we draw the number 9. Stand up and let's make a huge 9 in the air. Ready? First we draw a loop and then a line, and that's how we draw the number 9. Next, let's draw tally marks for our number 9. So tally marks are straight lines, except when we get to 5, a group of 5, we're going to draw a diagonal line. So stand up and let's draw it in the air first. Ready? We're going to count to 9 with tally marks. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to start with 5 next, but we're going to draw a diagonal line this time. 5. And then we're going to continue with our straight line. 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I'm going to write that on the board. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, 5 is a diagonal line. Then I'm going to continue. 6, 7, 8, 9. So let me count that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can you write the number 9, the word 9? Can you spell it? Spell it with me. Ready? N, I, 9. Next, let's figure out whether our number is odd or even. So if our number is even, I have some stickers here, and I have a 10 frame. You can make a 10 frame at home. I actually took an envelope from my house because that's all I had, and I drew 10 boxes on it. Then for stickers, I actually found some Christmas tags and cut them up for stickers. So if our number 9 is even, that means all of my stickers will have a pair or a partner. If my number 9 is odd, that means that all of my stickers won't have a pair or a partner. So let's show if number 9 is odd or even. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. As you can see, all of my stickers didn't have a pair. That means my number is odd. I'm going to write that on the board. Number 9 is an odd number. Next, let's see if we can figure out what comes before and what comes after 9. But I need to count because I can't remember. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 comes before 9. 8, 9. What comes after 9? 10. I made a list. 8, 9, 10. Let me write that on the board. I'm going to use commas because I'm writing a list every time I write a new number. 8, comma, 9, comma, 10. I made a list, and I put 8, 9, 10 in order. 8, 9, 10. Next, let's do some addition and subtraction. So let's practice fact families. In math, that means that we take 3 numbers, and we're going to make 2 addition sentences and 2 subtraction sentences. So we're going to start with our whole, 9. Like if I had 9 stickers, 9 crayons, that's the whole. And then I'm going to pick 2 numbers for the parts. I'm going to pick number 3 and number 6. So these are the parts to my whole. I'm going to write this on the board. 9 is my number of the day, and that's the whole. And I'm going to work with the number 3 as one of the parts of 9 and number 6 as another part of 9. So let's add. So when we're adding, we're going to take our parts to make the whole. So when I have 6, and I'm going to add, or say plus, 3, I'm going to get, let's find out. So I have 6, and I'm going to add on 3. So let me count. I'm going to start with 6, 7, 8, 9. And that looks, if I put these together when I add them, like this. 6 plus 3 equals 9. Let me put that on the board. 6 plus 3 equals 9. What happens if I switch the 6 and the 3? Will I still get 9? So this time, I'm going to start with 3. And I want to add on, find my plus symbol here, 3 plus 6. So let me add on. I started with 3, and I'm going to count on, or add on, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to write that on the board. 6, or 3, plus 6, see if I can hold all of these together, equals, there's my equal symbol, 9. 3 plus 6 equals 9. Okay, we have 2 more sentences to write. These will be subtraction or takeaway. So when we're subtracting, we actually start with our whole and we're going to take away a part. So I'm going to start with my 9 and I'm going to subtract or take away 3. So when I do that, let's see what I get. So I started with 9, and I want to take away 3. So I'm going to cover up 3. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me write that on the board. So I start with my whole, 9, and I'm going to subtract or take away 3. And I have 6. One more. Again, when we're subtracting, we're going to start with our whole. 9. And I'm going to take away or subtract 6. So when I start with 9 and I take away 6, let me count and see what I have left. 1, 2, 3. Let me write that down. 9 minus or take away 6 equals 3. Great. Now let's just make sure that we know what 9 is. Let's compare 9 to some other numbers. So on this side is 9. That's our number of the day. On this side is not 9. So let's compare some things and see if it's a 9 or not. Here are some triangles. Count them with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. 9 triangles. How about this number? What number is this? 7. Is 7 9? No, it's not. So this will go on the other side. It's not 9. This is our number 9. So this goes on our 9 side. How about this word? What does it spell? 9, just like we wrote here on the board. That goes on our 9 side. More triangles. Count these with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is 5 9? No, it's not. This goes on this side. It's not 9. We have some tally marks. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What does this say? 2. Is 2 9? It's not. One more. More tally marks. Let's count these out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This one confused me a little bit. It kind of looked like 9. Not 9. 8 is not 9. Okay, so let's count one more time, but this time let's count in Spanish, en español. Ready? Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Good. So remember, our number of the day is 9, so find 9 things around you. Add parts, right? Let's review. If you find 6 of something and plus 3 of something, you'll have 9. If you find 3 of something and or plus 6, you'll have 9. If you start with 9 things and you take away 3 or subtract 3, you'll have 6. If you start with 9 things and you take away or subtract 6, you'll have 3. Thank you for joining me today. Next up is Miss Q reading the story Spoon.
Good morning, friends, and welcome to At Home with APS. Today we're going to be reading 2 of my favorite books. The first book we're going to read is called Spoon. Spoon is written by Scott Magoon. This book is really fun because it's all about families. And I think right now we're all home with our families and we want to be closer to our families. So we're going to read this book. This is Spoon. I'm sure everyone has a spoon at home. This is Spoon's family. I love when I see this picture of Spoon's family that they're all different. Some are old and some are new. They're all different colors and shapes. Some of them even have mustaches. On Sundays, Spoon goes to visit his Aunt Silver. She has to be on his very best behavior there. She's very fancy and proper. Goodbye, darling. Ta-ta. That auntie is even wearing lipstick. At bedtime, Spoon likes to hear the story about his adventurous great-grandmother who fell in love with a dish and ran off to a distant island. I think I've heard that story too, but it wasn't about my great-grandmother. Have you heard that story? Lately, though, Spoon has been feeling very blue. What's wrong? Asked his mother. You look a bit bent out of shape. Nothing, mumbled Spoon. He's blue and eating blueberries. It's just that, I don't know. All of my friends have so much better fun than me. Like Knife. Knife is so lucky. He gets to cut. He gets to spread. I never get to cut or spread. Yeah, knife is pretty spiffy that way, isn't he? And fork. Fork is so lucky. She gets to go practically everywhere. I bet she never goes stir crazy like I do. Fork does get out and make herself useful, doesn't she? Poor Spoon. She gets to see all the things that Fork gets to do. Fork gets to go into fire. Fork gets to twirl spaghetti. Lucky Fork. Fork gets to eat vegetables by stabbing them. And Fork, this is the luckiest of all, Fork gets cake. Oh, and what about chopsticks? They are so lucky. Everyone thinks they're really cool and exotic. No one thinks I'm cool or exotic. Those chopsticks are something close, aren't they? Here's Spoon with a bowl of soup. But here's chopsticks. They get to eat sushi. They are pretty lucky. Meanwhile, if only Spoon knew what his friends were saying about him at that very moment. Spoon is so lucky, said Knife. He's so fun and easygoing. Everyone's so serious with me. No one's ever allowed to be silly with me, like they can be silly with Spoon. Here's Knife over here being safe. And here's Spoon getting to bang on a pan. Have you ever banged on a pan at your home? I bet it's a lot of fun. Ask a grown-up before you do that. Spoon is so lucky, said Fork. He gets to measure stuff. No one ever does that with me. Why do you think you can't measure with a fork? Maybe there's too much holes, lines going through, and the sugar will just spill right through. So that makes Spoon pretty lucky. Spoon is so lucky, said Chopsticks. He can go places all by himself. We could never function apart, said Chopsticks. What would you do with only one chopstick? What are some foods you could eat with only one chopstick? I'm thinking you could stab something and maybe pick it up. But I don't know if you could really eat with one chopstick. Give it a try if you have some chopsticks at home. That night, after bedtime stories, Spoon's mom turned off the light, tucked him in, and said, "You know, Spoon, I wonder if you realize just how lucky you are. Your friends will never know the joy of diving head first into a bowl of ice cream." Oh man, I think that would be so much fun to be able to dive into a bowl of ice cream. That does make Spoon pretty lucky. They'll never know what it feels like to clink against the side of a cereal bowl. And all the different kinds of cereal that Spoon gets to eat and help with, lucky Spoon. They'll never be able to twirl around in a mug or relax in a hot cup of tea. I bet that's like a hot tub for the Spoon. I like being able to be warm in a bath like that. Spoon hadn't thought of it that way before. He lay in bed for a long time. His mind was racing. He felt so alive. There was only one thing to do. I can't sleep. Come snuggle. Come Spoon. said his mom and dad. And he did. It looks like he fit right in line there with his family, getting a nice hug at the end of a day, remembering how lucky he was to be able to do all the things that he was able to do, and dreaming sweet dreams of all the things that a spoon gets to do. Lucky spoon. I love this story because it really reminds us of all of the lucky things that we get to do. So my challenge to you today is to think about being a spoon. Find some paper and a pencil and maybe write a story about all of the things that make you lucky. Just like Spoon had to remember all of the things that make him lucky. And maybe if you don't want to write about those things, write about what it would be like to jump into a big bowl of ice cream. What would that feel like? What would that smell like? What flavor of ice cream would you jump into? I can't imagine what those stories would be all about. Hopefully, you can share that story with your family, and when you get back to school, you can share it with your teacher. I'm sure she would love to hear about the story of Spoon and how you wrote your own story about things that make you lucky. And when you're done writing your story, you can perform your story with a spoon puppet. I made 2 spoon puppets here for you today. I made one that looks just like the character in the book Spoon. I made their faces the same. I used a plastic spoon and a marker, and I tried my best to make it look just like Spoon. This spoon doesn't have a nose, but you can decorate your spoon any way you would like. The other spoon I made, I found things around the building that I could add to my spoon. I drew on a face, I added on some pipe cleaners for arms and some paper clips for hair, and now I can tell my story with a puppet of a spoon that I made just for fun to be able to share my story with other people. So if you're at home, ask a grown-up, and you can use plastic spoons, or maybe they would even let you use a real spoon if you can't find a plastic one, to pretend a story about Spoon and all of the things that make you lucky, or diving into that big bowl of ice cream. I hope you enjoyed my story about Spoon. And now I'm going to read you one last story all about numbers, because today we are learning about math. This book is called Goodnight Moon 1, 2, 3. It's a counting book, similar to the book Goodnight Moon. Maybe you've read it before or seen it in your classroom. This book is all about things in a room that a rabbit sees when he's going to bed. What are some of the things you can see in your room when you get ready for bed? This rabbit sees 2 mittens. He also sees 2 kittens. He sees 1 house. He sees 1 fire. What other things can you see in this picture? Goodnight Moon 1, 2, 3. One quiet lady whispering, hush. 2 little kittens. Here's 2. 3 bears sitting on chairs. 1, 2, 3. 3 bears and 3 chairs. How many altogether? 4 cows jumping over the moon. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you find 4 of something in your room? Maybe 4 animals or 4 books. 5 telephones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are old-timey telephones. I bet you don't have telephones that look like that at your house, but do you have 5 phones at your house? 6 bowls of mush. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would not want to eat 6 bowls of mush. Do you have 6 bowls at your house? Have you ever counted them? 7 socks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One of these socks does not have a match, so that would make those socks odd. 8 mittens. Let's count by twos. 2, 4, 6, 8. All of the mittens do have a partner, so that would make them even. 9 red balloons. This is the same as our number of the day, so join along with me to count to 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 red balloons. 10 toy houses. This is another one. Let's count by twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. I love counting by twos. 100 stars. We're not going to count to 100 by ones, but we will count to 100 by tens. Can you help me? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. I wonder if you could find 100 things at your house and make a collection. Maybe 100 rocks, maybe 100 crayons, maybe 100 pieces of paper. See if you can make 100 collection at your house and sort them into groups of 10. Good night, stars. Good night, air. Good night, noises everywhere. And the last page says, shh. Thank you for joining me for another fun counting book today. Hopefully you'll have fun at your house finding some things to count and organize. We are ready for a math game with Miss Kathy. I hope you enjoy playing this math game and having a great day of learning. See you guys soon.
Hello, mathematicians. I'm so glad to see you again. And welcome to Math Games with Miss Kathy. I love math games. Math games are a fun way to learn math skills that make you a strong mathematician. So today we're going to be learning how to play a math game and build a math game that you can play again and again so that you too can become a strong mathematician. And this game is fabulous because you can play it by yourself or you could play it with other people around you, maybe a sibling or maybe another grown-up. And today's math game is one of my favorites. It's called, I don't remember. It's lost somewhere in my memory. We're going to be playing memory today, guys. So the game memory you can make by just using pieces of paper, and I'll show you how to do this. But essentially, we're going to be using numbers represented in 2 different ways, and we're going to have a lot of cards that we can flip over. And this game is super important because strong mathematicians need a strong memory. Now, a strong memory helps you as a mathematician learn new numbers and equations faster. So this game can be easier or harder depending on what numbers we include and how many cards we create. So to begin, we're going to play the game together. Then I'll show you how to build the game. All right, so I started off with some paper and I made my cards very large so that you can see them at home. But I started off by writing numerals. I wrote the number 3, and then I used tally marks, just like Mrs. B, to represent my number 3. So I have a match here for 3. I have a match for 4, a match of tally marks for 5, and pay attention because for 5, that's when I use my diagonal line to cross over to make my group. I have a match for 6, a match for 7, and a match for 8. So I used only numbers up to 8 today, and I used tally marks and numerals as my representation. So I'm going to mix my cards up. Whenever you play memory, you want to mix your cards up. Make sure you don't know the order of them. That makes it fair for when you're playing with others. And once they're nice and shuffled, you're going to place them down, face down on a table. I'm going to put mine up here so that you can see them using some tape. I'm going to try to make mine an array that is 4 by 3. Let's see if we can get it to fit in there. And I used markers to create my cards today, which means you can kind of see the number through the other side. When you do this at home, you should use a pencil so that you can't look through and see the other side and peek. So all of my cards are up here, and I shouldn't know which ones are where. That one's on the floor. I know exactly where that one is. And I'm going to keep putting my numbers up for you. And so while I'm doing this, what I'd like for you to do is to get some of our supplies ready. Today you're going to need a pencil, a pair of scissors, and make sure whenever you're using scissors at home that you have a grown-up's permission and supervision. And you're going to need 2 pieces of paper. And I'm going to keep putting my numbers up. Go ahead and get your supplies. There we go. All right, so I have all of my cards up here, and they are in an array, 4 by 3. And now I'm going to, either if I'm playing by myself, flip my cards over, 2 at a time, to see if I can get them to match. If I'm playing with a friend, my friend and I are going to take turns flipping the cards over. So I'm playing by myself today, but maybe you're lucky and you get to play with somebody at home. So I'm going to go ahead and flip over 2 cards randomly to see what the numbers are. I've got the numeral 7, and I'm going to be looking for the tally marks that match this. So a group of 5 and 2 more. I'm trying very hard to just pick randomly and not to look. And I got the numeral 8. What do you guys think? Thumbs up, it's a match. Thumbs down. That's right. I didn't get a match this time. I'm going to put my cards back, and I'm going to try to remember where they are. Let me fix that so you can hear me. Okay, so now I need to pick 2 new cards, and I'm thinking, how can I get a match? And that's the challenge. So I can remember where my other card was. My other cards were 7 and 8, and I'm trying to remember where in the array they were. But I can also flip over a new card to see if that one's going to be a match to one I've already seen. I got tally marks for 6, which means I need the numeral 6. I'm going to flip over another one. And look, I found the numeral 6. So thumbs up, thumbs down. Did Miss Kathy find a match? That's right. This time I found a match. So I get to hold on to these cards as the person who found it, and then it would be my friend's turn, or I get to go again until I find all of the matches that are hiding up here. Okay, so that's how you play the game memory, but you need to know how to make it so you can play it at home again and again. So this is where your supplies are super important. I have 2 pieces of paper. Mine is orange, but yours can be any color. So the first thing we're going to do is prepare our paper, because what we want is cards that are about this size, pretty small. And remember, I want you to use a pencil so that it's harder to see the numbers from the other side. So the first thing you're going to do is take your piece of paper, and you are going to fold it hamburger style, which means it's folded down like this. Okay. Make a nice good crease, and then open your paper back up. We're now going to fold our paper hot dog style, which means we're folding it the opposite direction so that we have a long piece of paper. And now when you open up your paper, you're going to see that there are 4 different sections. And our goal is to have small pieces that are about half the size of these sections. So what we're going to do first is cut out the quarters that you see right now. So I'm going to cut along the hot dog line and the hamburger line. Let's take a moment to do that, friends. Okay, so now I have my quarters, and they are twice as big as they need to be right now. So what we need to do is to take our nice little stack of papers, and we're going to cut them in half. And we can do this by folding them to make a crease so we know where to cut. And so now I'm going to cut along this line, and I'm going to cut all 4 pieces of paper at once to save time. You can do each individually, or you can do them all 4 at once like me. Okay, so now I have many cards that I can use to build my game. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards. You can start with 8 cards, and you can make more using your second piece of paper by folding it and cutting it again so that you have even more cards. But I did some work before we came here this morning, and I have 8 plus 8. So I actually already have 16 cards to play memory today. So the important thing to remember is when you're playing memory is that you have to have 2 different representations of the number. Today we were doing tally marks and numerals. So we're going to do that on our small cards as well. So get your pencil ready, and let's start with the number 3. I'm going to, with my pencil, write my numeral 3, and then I'm going to do my tally marks. 1, 2, 3. So I have 2 matches that are much harder to see from the other side when you're playing this game at home. So I have 1 match to go. I have 1 match done. And you can pick easy numbers, you can pick harder numbers depending on what your brain is ready for. I'm going to do the number 4 next. I'm going to write the numeral 4 and my tally marks. 4 tally marks. I have my second match. All right, now for the number 5. And 5 is where it gets exciting with tally marks. After you write your numeral, you can do your 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can cross it over diagonally to make your bundle. All right, so far we have 3, 4, and 5 as matches, and I have 1 match left, so I'm going to make the number 6. I have my numeral and my tally marks. 1, 2, 3, 4, diagonal cross for the 5, and 6. All right, I have my first batch of cards, and I'm going to make more after this program today so that I have enough cards to play with. All right, so when you're ready to play your game and you've made your cards, remember you always, always, always want to shuffle them first to make it fair for everybody who's playing. And then lay them face down in an array. An array means like a grid, kind of like you're putting them in like a rectangular space that you can play. And you are ready to play with yourself. If you have a grown-up or a sibling who's with you at home, you can play your game as well. And that's how you make the game memory. If you're ready for a challenge at home, you could also represent, instead of using tally marks, you could use 100 blocks or a number name. You could write out the whole number to practice some other math skills. I think 100 blocks is a really good challenge if you're ready for 2-digit or 3-digit numbers. You could draw tens and even hundreds and ones blocks. So have fun playing memory. I know you're going to love it as much as me. It will make you a stronger mathematician, not just because you're working with numbers, but because your working memory is growing too. And mathematicians need that strong memory. They need those strong math skills so that they can learn new skills faster and faster. So thank you for joining me for Math Games with Miss Kathy. And I want to say thank you for coming to Math Time today with all of us. Today you got to do some amazing things. You learned number of the day with Mrs. B. You learned all about the number 9 and how you can represent 9 in many different ways using a 10 frame. She used tally marks, and she used dots, which you can do as well. And she also wrote the number name. And you guys learned how to write equations. You did a fact family using 3 plus 6 equals 9, 6 plus 3 equals 9, 9 minus 3 equals 6, which was really incredible. You also got to read a really beautiful story with Mrs. Q. And you read 2 stories. You read Spoon. And don't forget to make your own spoon and your own spoon story when you finish today. And we learned how to make our own memory game. So these are some really great things you can do for the rest of the day that you can practice later to keep up your math skills so that you become a stronger learner. And after today's program, stay tuned because one of our stories, Good Night 1, 2, 3, will also be in Spanish, which is another really wonderful way to hear a story, is in another language. Learners, I love that you're coming today for math. Join us again on Thursday where we're going to do math and science. Thanks for joining us for this episode of At Home with APS.
Kinder and first graders, I hope you had a really good time watching our show this morning. I want to have you think about a few things. You know, you're growing up. It's the end of the school year, and you'll be going on to another grade soon. And with getting older comes a little bit of responsibility. And maybe you have some younger siblings, cousins, babies or toddlers in your house. How could you teach the things that you're learning here to the other students, the other children in your house? And how could you show your family what you are learning? Well, you know, yesterday we made some puppets. I don't know if you remember my little snaky guy. If you didn't see our show yesterday, we talked about making puppets out of things that you find at home, like a sock. And so I made my little snake, which you could do with just a sock and markers. And I made a tongue out of some paper. And then we made a grumpy guy out of a paper sack. So if he's grumpy, he could have a conversation. Perhaps teaching some of these games and things that you're learning in our show, maybe using your puppets to be the teacher, and you show those lessons to the other students, the other children in your house. So that might be one really fun way that you can take what you're learning today and put it to use while you are learning at home. So anything that you have, whether it's stuffed animals, some of you may have puppets. This is my puppet duck. Or maybe you want to make some, like we did yesterday with our stick puppet. Or you could even use your Lego people. Tell stories and teach them to others. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for joining us for this episode of At Home with APS.